Do you struggle to sleep because of city noise, the noisy neighbour, birds tweeting outside your window at 5 o'clock in the morning? That was me. One bird sounded weirdly like my son crying, so maybe I'm very attuned to him waking up in the middle of the night. Or, worse than any of those, snoring. Today's podcast may be for you. Hi, I'm Tony. I'm an author, presenter at Sky Sports, and years ago I went to the jungle and got ill. Very ill. So this is my podcast adventure to find more energy. It's packed with biohacking, science, health tech, supplements, and some of the most well-known experts on the planet.
This is something I spent 4 months of my life doing with electrodes glued to my head so that you can do a lifetime worth of meditation.
Decide what you don't give a f*** about, which is something you don't care about.
Some of it gets quite out there.
I had some stem cells sent up to my house that I had stored, and then I injected myself with mannitol.
And we even hack hangovers.
Alcohol is poisonous. So is water and oxygen in the wrong dosage.
So that's my podcast, Zestology. Live life with energy, vitality, and motivation. Yeah, today looking at sleep and noise, a great topic for this podcast. White noise, brown noise, or soundscapes are apparently pretty much the most popular apps on the App Store. This is the Google Play Store. But many actually do you more harm than good. So I'm Tony, thanks for listening to Zestology. Today, Janne, my guest, Janne Kyllönen, speaks in detail on topics such as the epidemic of noise-induced sleeplessness. It is an epidemic. We also look at the emerging science concerning the efficacy of white noise and whether it works. And we compare white noise and active noise. And we look at Janne's company as well, QuietOn and QuietOn earplugs. Would you call them earplugs or earphones? I mean, it's really, if you want to have a look at Janne's company now, you can go to QuietOn.com. But I've been trying these earplugs for probably 6 months now, and they've become my go-to earplugs. I can only wear them every other night because one of us has got to be listening out for the 3-year-old. But they're good. They're really good. I mean, it's you know those noise cancelling headphones that people wear sometimes when they want to relax? Sort of the same technology in earplugs. And Janne can explain it better than I can. So let's hand over to him. Right, we are recording now. Janne, thank you so much for coming on Zestology. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, lovely to talk to you. I'm a huge fan of QuietOn. I've been using them for over a month now. I think it's sort of quite interesting because I get pointed in the direction of quite a few different products in the biohacking world, and not a lot of them stick for longer than a week or two. But do you want to just explain exactly what QuietOn is? Because I think people will be fascinated by it.
Okay, yeah. So QuietOn is active noise cancelling Airpods designed for sleeping, and generally making silence. Also for the low frequency sounds like snoring and noises coming through the walls. So we are able to reduce that. And one and only device in that kind of product category, I would say.
Yeah. So they're sort of they look like normal earplugs sort of thing. Well, actually, they look like a cross between normal earplugs and sort of very fancy AirPods. And how does it actually work? Because I've been telling some friends about it, and I was actually just doing another interview just now for Zestology, and I was interviewing Dr. Tamsin Lewis, and I was telling her about them, and I couldn't really explain how it worked, but I know that they do work. So what exactly is going on?
Okay, yeah, perhaps I need to start from what is the active noise cancelling as a concept.
Yeah.
So if you remember from the physics class in the elementary school.
I don't remember much from the physics class, Janne, but tell me.
Yes. So the basics is that waves and opposite waves are killing each other. So sound is also a wave which goes through the air. So we are having a small microphone which listens to noise. And then electronics which generates the opposite sound waves and small speaker for playback that. So it's sort of generating the anti-noise. And when it's combined with the original noise, it's reducing it really efficiently. And that's what we do. We have the little bit electronics there and a rechargeable battery and those.
Right. So hang on. So there's one bit of noise and another bit of noise, and they're cancelling each other out.
Yes. You can think about just like waves and opposite waves, and exactly at the right time, exactly in the right amplitude, we are playing this anti-sound, and that makes the trick.
Yeah, great. Wow. And then, so did you say then that another noise gets played out after the two noise cancels each other out?
Yeah, or actually, that's the only thing what happens, that it plays in the real time anti-noise, which is canceling the original sound. And also our device is same time the passive air plug. So also the higher frequencies are reduced quite efficiently.
Right.
Because the active noise cancelling itself is typically not working over the 1 kilohertz frequencies. It's just like, because there has to be little delays in the electronics, so it's sort of impossible to go at least above 2 kilohertz.
Yeah.
But for that, we have then the passive air plugs sort of feature, and we are combining those best part of the both worlds.
Yeah, no, it's very, very cool. There's no buttons or anything. There's no switching it on. You just take them out of the case and they're ready to go. It's a brilliant idea. How did you come about doing this? I mean, what was your sort of journey to creating this?
Yeah, this is a bit longer story, but I used to work in Nokia, making mobile phones, and I was leading innovation teams and traveling quite a lot on that time. And once I was in Beijing airport, and this is quite a long time ago, like 10 years ago. One of my colleagues said to me that, Janne, you should try those active noise cancelling air muffs, which were for the traveling purposes. And I put them on and immediately felt this silent bubble coming around me, feeling that stress level going down and just feeling so good.
Right, yeah.
Like a long week in China, full of crowded Beijing and a lot of work, and then you have this kind of silent moment, even though you are in the middle of the airport. So that feeling was something that I remember and still remember very well.
Yeah.
And from there I started to thinking that, because I didn't buy that device, it was too big and clumsy, and I knew that I wouldn't carry that with me. But I was thinking then that if it could be much smaller, if it could be so small that you could even sleep with it, that would be amazing product. Mm-hmm. So after the mobile phone development was ended, and I was thinking about the next thing to do, it was like a 2015 the year. Then I went back to this and grabbed my old colleague and asked that, this Matti Nisula, that is it possible to make the active noise cancelling so small size that you could even sleep with it? And Matti said that he doesn't know, but let's try. And that is what we did. We started designing ourselves and, going this garage mode, building our prototypes manually and soldering under the microscope and get them working, and realizing that this is actually doable and really good product.
Wow. Okay, so you've got a sort of engineer background. Is that fair to say?
Yes. I'm a physicist as a physics degree, and I have been doing some coding and this kind of signal processing in early days, and then I started to be product manager, more looking at the user experiences.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole experience is very nice. It's a lovely sort of package, and they look great. Interrupting this podcast for one moment to let you know that it is brought to you by the shortcut to more calm and more connectedness, Sensate, who are my podcast partners for this month. And not only that, by the way, if you're someone who wears an Oura ring, I think you can increase your heart rate variability using Sensate as well. It's a genius device. You hang it around your neck, and it, through sort of conduction techniques, makes your whole body vibrate, and you listen to a soundtrack as well. And what it does is fairly incredible at getting you into a different place quite quickly. There is loads of science behind it. You can do 10-minute sessions, 20-minute sessions. You do longer if you want. But, 20 minutes for me is plenty long enough to get into a very good state of relaxation. It's nice before bed, but in my experience, if you do it an hour before bed, you'll just drop off there and then. So you need to make sure you do it at exactly the right moment, because it is really strong at supporting your stress response system. And let's face it, we all need a bit of that at the moment. If you go to getsensate.com/Tony Wrighton. You can get 10% off by using the code Tony. That is getsensate.com/Tony Wrighton. Use the code Tony and get 10% off. It really does work well. And it's sort of a shortcut to reducing stress and anxiety and staying cool, calm, and connected. And I think one of the great things about this thing is that there's a lot of gadgets and tech advances in the biohacking world which cost a lot. This is, it's a bit of an investment, but it's not a new mortgage. So getsensate.com/Tony Wright and use the code Tony for 10% off. Now, back to the show. One of the things that a lot of the biohackers that listen to my podcast worry about, and a lot of people who are just sort of generally interested in their health from a natural perspective, is EMFs, electromagnetic fields. And obviously with this product, there's no connection. You're not connecting to anything. There's no apps, there's no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but everything has some sort of EMF. I mean, our bodies carry some sort of EMF. So what are the EMFs like on the QuietOn earbuds?
I would say that almost none, because it is just generating the audio. Of course, you could, it's then like you think about EMF, that is the audio device also generating super small, some kind of electromagnetic field. But like we know the term itself, it doesn't generate it at all.
Yeah.
It is like a totally safe. And actually, it seems to be a really important thing for many people that they don't want to even think about sleeping with the Bluetooth device partially inside their head.
Yeah, I think that's why the Oura Ring is so popular amongst people that I know, because you can put it into airplane mode, and a lot of these trackers you can't. And so that's what's very appealing about your device. There is no connectivity needed, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and that was also like when we started to this kind of product planning. In that time, 2015, there were no Bluetooth Airpods existing yet. And of course, we were thinking that should we have also music there. But we decided that no, let's do the one thing to perfection. Let's make it as small as possible. Let's make the battery life and all of those without compromises. And that ended up to really good decision.
Great. Yeah. There's I've noticed that it was interesting doing the research for this podcast, because I found that if I sort of put it in various positions in my ear, it gets quieter. And I don't know that I've quite got the right position yet, but there's definitely a sort of an optimal position to try and aim for, isn't there, when you put these earbuds in?
Yes. Actually, that is also like a little bit like a technical background on that, because when we have the microphone outside the device, and then the speaker is inside the device. So when we are generating these opposite sound waves, they need to be matching the sort of change what happens when the audio goes through the foam air plug.
Yeah.
So if the plug is not really tightly, then the audio signal is not matching that well. So that's why it's crucial that it's put well in the ear.
Right, yeah. And quite apart from the biohacking market, are you sort of aiming at the snorers or the partners of snorers as well?
Yeah, there's partners with the snoring couples, or those are our main segment, of course. I would say perhaps 60% or 70% of the customers are, because there hasn't been really the solution for this snoring problem. And we are getting a lot of this feedback for, thank you for saving our marriage. It's nice to be sleeping in the same room again. But then there's a lot of people also that even though they're sleeping themselves, but in the noisy cities and noises coming through the walls and that. So just also like single persons are getting a lot of this. And for example, myself, my wife is not snoring that heavily,
I'm sure she will thank you for saying that. Yep.
but I'm still using the device every night because even this kind of sound of blanket and all of that small noises and things, that when you are able to reduce all of that, you get the better sleep. And also the one thing is that when I put those devices in my ears, but it may be trained behavior or something like that. But my brain understands that, okay, now it's time to sleep. It's just like switching the different mode and immediately get to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. So what has the reception been like? How many, I saw that you were on Indiegogo a while back, and when did you launch, and what's the reception been like, and how are people taking to it now?
Yeah, so we have already third generation product out, and I would say that now we have like a hit the jackpot, that all the tech reviews what we have seen, like the tech radars and those are claiming that this is the best sleeping device in the market.
Yeah.
And of course the customer feedback has been something. I would say that up to 80% is saying that I would recommend this to my friend, that this is so good.
Yeah, I think that as well. And are you sort of, what are your main markets, and where are you sort of doing a lot in America, or where are you sort of focusing your energies?
Yeah, the USA is the main market. It's roughly 60% the USA, but then there's UK, Australia, and those coming next. And I would say that we have been selling to 120 different countries, which means that the product is global. But of course, the price point and those is a little bit limiting for some regions. Perhaps Africa and India is not in our main segments in that sense.
Yeah, well, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I can't wear them every night because I've got a 2-year-old. So on the nights that it's my turn to actually look after him, I wouldn't hear him if he woke up. So I can only wear them every other night. But they're great. The active noise cancelling is just so clever and a real joy to put them in. And I've found that I'm using them more and more actually. So congratulations! It's such a good product.
Thank you. Yeah, and by the way, you are touching also quite interesting segment. These families with the newborns, or really that able to take the shifts and decide when to sleep and when to be awake. So.
Yeah, I mean, sleep is like, we spend far too much time talking about sleep, but and I've got a whole load of things that help with sleep. You know, I mean, I definitely find that CBD helps with sleep, and taking magnesium in the evening, and definitely a regular bedtime. You know, Janne, for years I've worked in TV with finishing at midnight and getting back at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I've only just finished that to focus on this business more. And to be able to go to bed at the same time every night is just, I just feel so lucky now, you know. And I think I can add QuietOn to that list as well. And then there's one other thing that makes a huge difference, and that is leaving my mobile phone downstairs out of the bedroom. It's just a massive, like, if it's in there, I'll look at it first thing in the morning, last thing at night. I just don't have the self-control to put it away. So it has to go downstairs. I don't know about you, but I find that is quite a big help to sleep, actually.
Yes. I'm not that strong, have that strong will that I could really leave it outside the room, but it definitely affects your stress levels. And before even you open the device, your stress is already up because you know that there's something coming there.
Janne, you've got to treat yourself. You've got to leave that phone downstairs tonight or outside the room. You might just sleep like a baby.
Yeah, I need to try that. But the one tip also for the sleeping, that because I'm from Finland and we have the saunas in every house. Yeah, I have the sauna every evening, and I having the sauna and your body temperature goes up. And after the sauna, cooling down and reading some book or something, and like a half an hour, 45 minutes, and the body temperature sort of a little bit overcompensates. So it goes down like a lower level than it normally is after the sauna. And that is the time when the sleep comes. It comes like switching the eyes off, and that's it.
Yeah. That's fascinating. We've got a sauna here actually, and I went through a stage of doing it in the evenings as well. And I also noticed that it would help with sleep, but I'm out of the habit of that, so I'll try that again. Thank you for that. I mean, the evenings in your household sound quite nice actually in Finland. There sounds good. Bit of reading, bit of sauna, very nice.
Yeah. You need to put your going like a lower and lower, like in the stress levels, and start relaxing and preparing yourself to sleep. And
there's a lot of interesting health tech that's coming out of Finland actually, isn't there? I've spoken to a few people at various conferences, the biohacking conference and paleo effects. There's some great innovation coming out of Finland. I don't know what it is about your country, but there's so much good stuff.
Yeah. Like I'm from Oulu, and this is the city that used to be like a Nokia mobile phone development and big universities and that. So we have like perhaps 10,000 engineers here in the one city.
Right.
So of course that affects that. It sort of builds the ecosystem. And for example, Oura Ring is coming here, and I know the founders well. And that's.
Oh, good. Yes. Yeah. Well, yes, I've got an Oura Ring on at the moment, and we've just got one of their new generation 3 Oura Rings, and they're doing very well. They've had loads of investment recently, haven't they? Which is good. And then the human charger, is that Finnish as well? Is that a Finnish company?
Yeah. That was coming also from Oulu region, but I think that their business has been stopped already.
Oh no! Oh, okay. I haven't spoken to. I used to know the guys at Human Charge, but I haven't spoken to them for a while, so I have to catch up with them. Oh, that's a shame. Well, Janne, I wish you very best with the QuietOn. I really think it's great, and I'll be enthusiastically pushing it to everybody who talks to me about sleep. Now, 2 questions that I've asked everybody: what is one book that you would recommend, and one tip for living with more energy?
Yeah, I think that maybe these are a bit combined. That this Matthew Walker's "Why Do We Sleep?"
Oh yeah,
that is an excellent book. Have you read that?
I have read it. Yes, in fact, he's been on this podcast as well.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The whole book is about really what is the value of the sleep, and really interesting how they are making the research that having the sleep lab and putting the people that not giving, for example, enough deep sleep, and then seeing what happens and all that. So it was really fascinating. And I think that this life-changing thing that now I also started to think about the sleep totally differently. It's not just like a time away from the normal living, but it's actually the building block for the whole health and well-being. And I think that is also the tip for the vitality, or something that do everything what you can do to improve your sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just trumps. You could take all the supplements, use all the tech in the world, but if you get an extra hour of sleep, you feel better than any of that. And Matthew Walker, when he came to London, I went to interview him in an Airbnb. He was doing a big talk, and I went to the talk afterwards as well, and it was brilliant. And he was very tired when I saw him. And I said, you're one of the world's top sleep experts. What's going on? And he basically booked this Airbnb right opposite a nightclub, which had closed at 4 a.m. in the morning. And he was fully aware of the irony of being a sleep expert and being rather underslept. But it's just occurred to me, Janne, he needs to have a pair of these earbuds.
Yes, it should. So perhaps you can link us together, so I will.
Yeah, sure, I will. Yeah, I mean, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Can you imagine? I would love to know what he thinks. Brilliant. All right, well, we'll sort that out. And Janne, really great to talk to you as well. Where can people find out more about QuietOn?
So QuietOn.com, that's our webpage, and there is a web shop and everything. More information, a lot of articles and things around sleep and well-being too.
Yeah, there's some articles on biohacking there as well. It's really good to talk to you, Janne. Good luck with everything. Good luck with QuietOn. I'm a big fan, and we'll speak to you again soon when you've gone global and you're as big as Apple Watch.
Okay. Thank you. It truly was a pleasure to be part of this podcast.
Thanks, Janne. Speak to you soon. Thank you to Janne. Make sure you check out QuietOn. Brilliant company and really cool bit of tech that I use all the time. And thank you to my podcast partners today, Sensate. And I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to hanging out with Sensate at the Health Optimization Summit in London. It is now about 3 weeks, and it's going to be so much fun. And in fact, I met Sensate at the last Health Optimization Summit. So this is the sort of thing, if you like stuff like QuietOn, if you like stuff like Sensate, if you like going out and hanging out with sort of healthy, like-minded people, then go to the Health Optimization Summit and you might meet a company like Sensate and just sort of get chatting to them. And who knows what happens. And for me, I've made this wonderful podcast partnership as well. It's been great. And we use Sensate in our company all the time now. Because what I've tried to do is when we're in the office, I'll bring in something that I like, and the Sensate seems to be in my bag more often than not. And we will just book a sneaky little meeting room, and then one after the other of us will go off and do a 10-minute Sensate session. And it's a great way to reset in the middle of the day. I put a lot of thought into dealing with stress and anxiety, and this meditation device can really help. It is called Sensate, and you can use the code TONY to get a nice discount on Sensate. So if you go to getsensate.com/Tony Wrighton, you will get, I think, £20 or $20 off. It's getsensate.com/Tony Wrighton. They've been my podcast partners for a few months. If you saw my recent Instagram post, you'll see that my Sensate is completely battered because we use it so much. It's definitely one of our faves. Oh, and that is a message on my WhatsApp telling me this is time to finish this podcast. Might even be from my friends at Sensate. All right, listen, have a good day. Thank you for listening to Zestology. Listen out for podcasts over the next few weeks. We've got some great stuff lined up, and then once the Health Optimization Summit happens, it's going to be such a big event in this country. And by the way, I think it's at least twice as big as the last one they held in terms of people. Thousands and thousands of people going. We're going to be doing interviews there with the likes of Ben Greenfield, John Gray, and loads of others as well. So that's coming up over the next month or so on Zestology too. And of course, Tim Biohacker. Have a good day. Speak to you soon. Thanks for listening.